Well, there was this one time when I was in school and I had a math test actually. You see, math had never been my strong subject, and to put it bluntly, I was failing. The thing is, if I got a good grade on that test, it could make up for my bad performance, and there was still a chance I could pass. So I made up my mind to study as hard as I could and really absorb the information. I spent all my free time perusing my math book and practicing the calculations. I even went online and watched videos about the subject to make sure I had really understood it. By the time test day came around, I was nervous, but confident. Now it was time to see if all that hard work would pay off. The test was tough. 3 hours of calculating and story problems, numbers and formulas. I was exhausted at the end. When I handed in the test, the teacher gave me a look that betrayed the lack of confidence that my bad grades had come to inspire in her. All I could do was smile back sheepishly. I deserved that look, after all. I mean, if I had taken my studies as seriously as I'd done for this test, then I would probably have been a math genius by then. Anyway, after I left the classroom, I let out an audible sigh of relief, loaded with desperate hope. All I could do now was wait. No turning back now, right? The next week went by in a kind of daze. All I could think about was that grade. When it came time to find out our grades, it was on the tip of every tongue. The teacher opened the door and the classroom erupted into eager shouts and questions. What did I get? Did I pass? Do we get to know our grades today? Only imagine 30 students saying that all at once. It was as loud and chaotic as a waterfall. Anyway, the teacher just sat down, opened her roll sheet, and started calling names. It just so happens that mine was the first on the list. When she said my name, the classroom went silent as I stood up slowly. It was only a few steps to her desk, but at that moment we might as well have been separated by the Sahara Desert. I felt the urge to run, but my legs barely managed to move. When I finally made it to her desk, she looked at me and pointed to my grade. I was so nervous that I could barely even see straight. It was a B+. I made my way back to my desk, trying to wrap my head around what had just happened. You see, that was the best grade I'd ever gotten in math. Not only had I learned the subject, but I had gotten a good enough grade to pass. I passed! Everyone in class looked at me, and I realized I had shouted without thinking and startled everyone. Actually, it had been a delayed reaction. The time it took me to process that single thought had been enough for the teacher to call up 3 other students. All I could think about, though, was how wonderful it felt to know that all my hard work had paid off. I learned at that moment that anything really is possible if you invest your time and effort. Wanting it isn't enough. You have to do what it takes. Some things are easy because you already have what you need, but the hard stuff requires you to figure out what's missing. You have to think. Sometimes you need help. It might even be the hardest thing you've ever done. But in the end, that feeling of getting what you were aiming for is amazing. It's gratitude.